Hello and welcome to this quick introduction to Printix Go. Printix Go supports ID and PIN release at the printer and also supports card authentication, so your employees can swipe their employee pass or their building access pass to release their documents securely while they stand in front of the device. During this video we'll talk about the configuration of Printix Go, how to deploy it to supported devices, and how to use Printix Go. Okay, so how do we go about deploying Printix Go to any device in your network? First of all, we'll have to pull down the menu bar and go to Settings for your tenant. In the settings for your tenancy, you will have Printix Go. By selecting this, we have access to the Go configurations and the sign-in profiles. As always, the blue question mark at the right-hand side of your browser will take you straight into the online manual explaining the feature in detail together with FAQs, etc., etc. What we'll do now is we'll add a Go configuration. The Go configuration tells Printix which features and access method or sign-in method you want to be using. I'll simply call this Go test. I want to choose a card or ID code for accessing the device later on. And I want to control the scan and copy function. When I do this, we've made this configuration that I now need to assign to a specific printer. Before I do so, I will also have to create a sign-in profile so that Printix knows which user account to choose when accessing this device and changing the configuration on that printer. So we need to create the sign-in profile for that specific device or any given number of devices that are configured the same way. In this case we have, I'm just going to call this HP Copenhagen. So the HP devices in Copenhagen office are set up using administrator and the password. There we go. So these are the credentials that you would set on the web interface for your devices, and this is reflected in the sign-in profile in Printix Go configuration. Once we save this, we now have a way of accessing the device to make changes on the device itself, and we have a profile that will set the sign-in method and which functions are controlled by Printix Go once we've deployed this to that device. So let's associate the Go configuration together with the sign-in profile to a specific printer on my tenancy. For this, we'll hop over to the printers and choose the printer in question. In this case, it's this LaserJet 500 MFP. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to navigate to the Printix Go tab. Now here we have the Go configuration. You can see no configuration is set so far, and it's the same for the sign-in profile. So let's go into the gear wheel and assign a Go configuration. You'll note that you could also come to the configuration screen from within this device. So I could create a new Go configuration from here as well, and then later on change that in the tenant settings so I don't have to go through any specific device to get to that dialog. So I'm going to say assign Go configuration, and of course there's only that one that we've created just now. I'm going to select this. So this is what's going to happen once we've deployed Printix Go to that device. And in order to deploy this configuration to the device, we also need to tell it which sign-in profile to use. Again, we could create a new sign-in profile from within this device, or we can simply choose one that we've just predefined. HP Copenhagen. Now Printix knows what profile and access method to establish on that device and which sign-in profile to use in order to do so. I can verify the sign-in profile by clicking on Verify Sign-in Profile. So now this has been validated and it's been verified. Everything is good to go. So I can now push Printix Go to that device. So let's take a look at the device screen before we push Printix Go. Fortunately, this device supports remote screen capture. So let me just bring this up on the screen. And there it is. So this is the screen capture off of that device, and we can see everything is factory defaults. So once I install Printix Go to this device, by going back to my administration and saying install, we are now pushing this configuration to that device, and by refreshing the screen, we'll see the change on the display just in a moment. We can also see that the status has just changed. So we now know that this device has been installed correctly with Printix Go. A few seconds ago, the status is installed. So we can hop back into the web interface showing the remote screen capture. And there we are. It's already changed and updated. We now have the Printix tile on the screen. So this is what the end user would see. Because we've chosen card release or ID release in the profile, I will now have to present my card to the reader or sign in using my ID. So because I'm not physically in front of this printer, I'm going to use the ID sign-in method. By clicking onto the Printix tile, I will be asked to use my ID code to sign into the device so I can access my secure print jobs. While we're here, let's talk about how we can set the ID code. So you sign into Printix app on your mobile device, tap on the menu bars, and then go to Cards and Codes. You will be presented with this process to choose your PIN code and create your ID code as described here in the manual. I've already done this, so we can move this out of the way. My ID code is, in this case, 70 60 64. The PIN I chose was simply 1 2 3 4. So I'm now being signed into the device, and it's going to present the print jobs waiting for me in the queue. Let's quickly add another one while we're here. So I'm going to print this page. And here we are, the second job that I just sent is also showing up on the display. So I can now select any of the print jobs, or if I wish, all of the print jobs, and click on print. Because we are already authenticated at the device and our email address is known, I can also click on scan to email, and it's going to pre-populate my username and email address in the to field. So we've already established scan to me just by signing into the device. We hope you found this helpful and would love to see you try out the new feature, Printix Go. Thank you very much.